So I have some very real concerns about the AI bubble that Donald Trump and Elon Musk keep pushing, and I want to show you guys this today and other things. First, this was the headline. Pollution from coal plants was dropping, then came Trump and AI. And basically, long story short, they want to deregulate things. So you're looking at now more dirty air, more dirty water, and you need more power for all these AI data centers. And they'll try to justify, well, no regulations because we can't hold back our power needs, right? We got to power up all the data centers. And there's a very important side effect that comes across to me as very sci-fi dystopian, which I want to read with you guys together. So this is what it says. The Trump administration is allowing coal plants to release more pollution at a time when utilities across the country are opting to save their aging coal facilities from retirement so they can power artificial intelligence. So just take that first part right there. Aging coal plants, right? Basically. We probably should decommission these things, not use it anymore. It's just not clean. We got to come up with other ways to power stuff. Plus, all the demands now are elevated because of, again, the AI. And then you have this, what are the side effects of if we do more of these coal things? Those two trends, okay, those twin trends, weaker pollution safeguards and accelerated coal use could have dramatic implications for rising temperatures, right? So that makes the situation worse. And the health of people living near coal plants, whose emissions are linked to heart disease, respiratory illness, and lower IQs. Now, that one caught my attention right away. I always talk about this stuff. We need more critical thinking in the USA. We need more education in the USA. And if you essentially have this world where you're going to poison your population, that's basically what it boils down to. It's going to affect people. And to be fair, I Googled this. I was like, okay, is this real? Does pollution affect IQ? I know it doesn't sound nice when you talk about this stuff, but this is real, right? And it literally Google's like, yes, studies show that pollutants, from coal emissions can lower cognitive function, including IQ, especially in children. You can find a couple studies on this. This is 2009. You find something in 2018. Air pollution causes huge reduction in intelligence. But it's not shocking. Just it's sad to see the stuff because just make it most simplest terms. When you're pregnant, you want to make sure that your baby has good nutrition going in, make sure it has a good environment, right? Especially growing up from baby to adolescent, right? After being born, you want to make sure a lot of healthy environment. And it means, food, all the intake, the air, water. And so your physical development, just your development is stunted if you don't have this healthy environment. I think it's pretty obvious, but when I was connecting this together, because I told you all the time, it's like the Trump people want us to be dumb. And this is like another way that they can do that. Is that like, do they purposely think, okay, definitely destroy education department? That's their plan, and definitely pollute more. I think it's more profits over people is their general culture, but these are the side effects. And then you put this together with what they'll say behind closed doors. This is why I mentioned this story just yesterday, right? Soup firm Campbell's dismisses executives over alleged poor people comments. Basically, there's someone high up in Campbell Soups is saying, the food is processed, highly processed, and it's basically food for poor people. And there's a lot of this kind of stuff in USA, unfortunately. And it's hard to explain. For those of you who've ever been outside the USA, you'll know this, that the food quality is just much higher outside the USA. You'll know. The access to vegetables, right? Access to meat, just higher quality food. Not talking about cuisine or, sauces and that. Just the food quality is higher. And it's unfortunate in USA that if you say do want to get healthy food, because someone says, oh, Chris, you're wrong, you can get healthy food. And you say, yeah, you can, but it costs a lot more if you want to buy organic or go to your local farmer's market. And not every neighborhood has a farmer's market in it also. And for many people in USA, if you educate people that money is the most important thing, or if people can only afford cheaper foods, that's what they get. And it affects everything. And one of the things that I always mention, it's for me, it's really disturbing. My wife saw it for the first time when she was in USA, when we were in USA, and I had seen it before when I was in college. You will see people in USA that give their babies Coca-Cola in their baby bottles. You will see it. And it's the most disturbing thing that you'll see, and you can't really say anything. It's a very difficult conversation. Just it's a negative culture. And for people who live in USA, some people think that's normal. I have not seen that in any other country other than USA, that the stuff that people give their kids for different reasons, some economic reasons, some they just don't know. I always tell my wife the same story. I remember I was in a restaurant one time, it's years ago. I just remember and I remember hearing like a mom tell the kid, you got to finish your Coca-Cola. You have to finish it before we go. And it's, I just hate to break to you guys, like Coca-Cola is not healthy. It's the same way as like candy bars. Like don't tell your kid, oh, you got to finish your candy bar. That's like snack. It's like, it's a candy. It's not something that you need to have to finish. And it's hard to have these conversations because if you've only lived in America, you don't know. And sometimes, people ask like, what's life outside the USA? And so I'm telling you, like the many stuff that goes on in the USA is whacked out. Here's another thing: people or profits over people, right? Talked about this before. Steroid Olympics, organizer to go public in 1.2 billion SPACs. Basically, it's Donnie Jr. and Peter Thiel. They want to have this basically sports competition, and you give the athletes as much, chemicals or whatever. That's seriously, that's the thing. Like no limits of chemicals. Then we can break whatever records. It's crazy. And so that's what they're doing to the people. And then if you go shopping these days, and this is something that is just on Bloomberg right now. I guess now we have all these shopping bots, but you kind of know it was going in this direction. Basically, they're going to recommend, that you what to buy grandma or grandpa or whatever, right? Which I understand from the point of view. But I think this is going to be a major problem going forward. What do I mean by that? Because as all these chatbots things rise up, that's going to be a way for them to monetize. They'll start pushing certain kinds of things to people, right? That's what it says. Amazon.com's, right? Inc.'s AI-infused Rufus, I guess what they're calling it. Has got a shopping assistant now. Faster, more useful, state-of-the-art shopping companions, what they say. Google's agentic checkout, quote, can do heavy lifting to help you get the perfect item without blowing your budget. And then you have OpenAI Monday. They got it's a part of the ChatGPT personalized gift buying guide or whatever. And it's actually very sci-fi-ish if you guys know this movie, Minority Report, it's an older movie now. But basically, Tom Cruise runs through the Gap and they have like these personalized shopping assistants to help you. And there's a scene where he runs through and they're like, hey, Tom, I can't remember his name in the movie, but hey, Tom. And I think the reason I'm bringing this up is because if you don't have the critical thinking skills, which I really emphasize in this channel, always, look at everything and just take a step back. Don't necessarily just go along with the crowd just because everyone else is doing it. And I'm not saying that chatbots are the worst thing in human history. I'm not necessarily saying that, but you do want to have regulations on this kind of stuff. You do want to have, controls on these things, because for example, if you advertise this stuff as hey, this is the best answer, most neutral answer, and then you find out like these sort of things are pushing you dangerous products or whatever. It's the same way I've mentioned several times on this channel. You may watch whatever, other YouTube channels. And if they start pushing particular types of candidates during an election, I always very cautious of that because it's like, okay, is that the party speaking now? Are you all working in the same script? And a lot of channels do that. It's troublesome. It's troublesome and something I emphasize. I'm independent. I have my own mind. I can make up my own mind myself. And I also want to talk to other independent people who can make up their own minds. I don't necessarily want stuff just, forced upon me. But if you live in a society in USA where they constantly just literally want to poison you and then reduce your IQ, people won't see what's coming. And that's literally what I try to have a talk with you guys about. And, if you go, say, to the doctor because your kid is sick, which is something that we should all worry about. Like I don't want sick kids. Things are too expensive, right? So we're pushing healthcare out of the access of regular people. Americans are buckling under medical bills. It could get worse. The basic gist of this story, I just read it, is charity organizations will help out people with their medical costs. Because in USA, I think that is one of the top causes of bankruptcy in USA is medical costs. It doesn't happen in other countries in developed world. This is a USA thing. A lot of this stuff is like USA stuff. And it's like hyper capitalism nonstop. And it's crazy that we don't have open conversations about this stuff more often. In USA, that there's this like weird cultures. Like if you question this kind of stuff, say, "Oh, you just hate capitalism. We're rich in America, and that's like the best thing ever." And it's like, I mean, don't you guys ever like look outside the USA and see how things are done, or watch sci-fi movies and like make a connection of like some of the stuff that say, I don't want to live in a Terminator future. I don't want to, live in the alien future. If you guys don't know, it's all controlled by corporations. And then they send the, basically truck drivers off. You don't know the alien movie. Basically truck drivers, essentially what it is. Yes, they're in a spaceship, but it's basically truck drivers. And you're supposed to haul whatever cargo or go find whatever cargo. Ends up being dangerous. And basically you're expendable. That's what it boils down to. And not every country in the world wants this kind of hyper sci-fi dystopia US culture. This was actually pretty funny today. I saw this for real. Denmark sets up night watch to monitor Trump after Greenland row. So basically Trump keeps saying he wants to take over whatever, 51st state Canada or Greenland or whatever. And then Denmark's like, yo, we're going to have a night watch. If you know Game of Thrones, you'll know why it's kind of funny where essentially you have these people guarding the wall, protecting from the White Walkers and the zombies is basically what it is. And essentially what it is they're monitoring USA and because USA is a different time zone than say Denmark, they have the night watch to keep a track of what Trump is up to. And it's funny because I want to share this one with you also today. I keep reading stuff because I think the big thing going out right now is how is holiday shopping going to be in USA. I read mixed things on this stuff. I do see some people are cutting back. I do some people are going to be more or same. But a lot of it has to do with the K-shaped economy, which you're going to hear a lot about this. I think that going forward, the next couple of years, unemployment is going to be the main talk. K-shaped economy, meaning the rich get richer, the poor get poor. Think of the letter K. And then you see these kind of headlines. This is from Wall Street Journal. Look at this. Inside the trust reveal, where the super rich pass on generational wealth. So basically, the boomers are getting ready to pass their wealth on to their kids. And, for some, you keep your wealth, private, secret. You don't, not necessarily secret's the right word, but just you don't necessarily tell or fully disclose everything to your kids until the time is right. And I wish I had these problems, right? Surprise, you have a $100 million trust fund. I wish I had that problem. I can assure you my situation is nothing. If you don't know, my family, I lost my family at the end of the Vietnam War, and I found them after 50 years. It's a very, very complicated discussion, but it was nothing like this to like, surprise, $100 million. No, it's not like that. But for some people, this is where the Trump world is this, right? So you're getting this disparity, right? So for some people, I'd say the vast majority of people are struggling right now. And then some people, like the Trump people, they never had it so good. And they're having these like big parties and, hire these advisors. How do we, write our wills or whatever? And surprise, you got a $100 million trust fund. On top of that, which I want to share with you guys, like just give you different points of view. I know in Trumpy world, they want to poison you and make you all dumb. I know it's not saying the nicest terms, but essentially what it is, they don't care about regular people's health. And then they'll say, the whole problem is in USA is from the Trump people. They'll say, oh, it's all the immigrants and the black and brown people, etc. My wife and I, we went out to dinner last night. Okay. And I took a picture, you can see, and had the sign on the restaurant. And a lot of the restaurants have this here in Korea. This is here in Busan. It says multilingual friendly restaurant. This is a new sign. I hadn't seen this one before. And the reason why I mention this stuff is that as the USA is closing the borders and as the USA just wants to become one type of person, it's very different here in Busan. Very, very different. So you can see right there, multilingual friendly restaurant. And I see like tourism, I see it like from all sorts of places. Just yesterday, because it's a holiday, and I think many of the military families have time off also. I saw some American families enjoying the holiday. We were in a cafe and we saw American family playing cards. They're sitting around just playing. I think they were playing hearts or something like that. And if they watch my channel, I saw you, but and I saw another one. They were enjoying the sights, and it was funny because the dad said something like he mispronounced one of the Korean words, and the wife corrected him. It's kind of funny, but which also is a good thing because it shows that they were trying to learn the local culture. So I don't want to ever give the impression that everyone's Trumpy. It's not. It's completely not. Right? Denmark's pushing back. Here in Korea, they're becoming more and more open because people ask me about this stuff, and I'm showing you. And in fact, in many restaurants these days, you'll see a lot of foreign workers these days. That's relatively new. It wasn't like that when I first came to Korea. Many of our headlines these days is another example. This is just today. 14 students from diverse backgrounds honored in the Global Korea Awards. So you're starting to hear more about, like, they explain like a family from the dad, I think is from Morocco, the mom is Korean, and you'll hear different explanations of that. This is another one today. Korea's rising multicultural youth population offers a glimpse of more inclusive future. I'm not saying Korea is perfect. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this is something that they're talking about, because basically as it boils down to is, as you become more of an economic power, there are more jobs, there are more opportunities, and so people from all around the world want to come and be part of that, right? And so they actually have, this is really fascinating. I think in USA this would be really controversial in USA, and it is controversial, and like we have MAGA type people here in Korea, so I think they don't. There's definitely a right wing here, but they would hate this kind of stuff. This is the department. It's interesting. It says Ministry of Gender Equality and Family holds meeting with the delegation, right? And essentially that's what it is. It's a department that they do have lots of different things. So gender equality, you can see right here, it says support of youth activities, support for children, these kind of things. And it's been great to see all of these types of changes. And that's what I just want to give you, because like sometimes if you just only talk about what the stupid stuff Trump's doing, you say, okay, so what's the alternative? And I'm showing you, right? You develop government policy that includes everyone, and you start to attract people from all around the world. You want to make sure you use all the resources in your own country, be it the children from multiple backgrounds, both men and women, right? Genders. Use whoever has a talent, and you utilize your population to give everyone a chance to be successful and to contribute positively. And then you positively promote your products around the world for being good quality, not like forcing people to like, oh, if you don't trade with us, we'll do tariff war with you. And so these days, this is like, for example, this is the headlines on CNBC today. So it's U.S. news talking about Korea. TikTok fueled K-beauty boom triggers a retail race in the USA. And let me read the description of this coming from CNBC. On a recent Saturday at Ulta Beauty store in Midtown Manhattan, so it's a popular store in USA, Denise McCarthy, a mother in her 40s, stood in front of a wall of tiny pastel bottles, tubes, and compacts. Her phone buzzed another TikTok from her 15-year-old daughter. Quote, "My kids text me TikToks," she told CNBC, right? Scooping Korean lip tints and sunscreens in her basket, destined for Christmas stockings. "I don't even know what half of this does. I just buy the ones they send me." Here's more. 2 aisles over, a group of college students compared swatches of Korean cushion foundations. A dad asked the store associate whether a viral Korean sunscreen was the one, quote, from a girl who does the "get ready with me" videos. I don't even know what that is, but a lot of people do this kind of stuff. Near the checkout, a display of Korean sheet mini packs was nearly empty. Scenes like this are playing out across the country. And you even have Karen Levitt, which I talked about before on the channel. She was out, when the Korean or the American delegation was here near Busan for the Gyeongju was the city, but and Trump was also actually here in Busan. But Karen Levitt was like basically shopping at our stores here in Korea for cosmetics and posted that on her social media. And she says, "South Korea skincare finds," right? The reason why I'm bringing all of this stuff up is this is what like good business looks like. You want customers from all over the world. Put out menus that have multiple languages. You don't want to like push people away. You want to be welcoming. And for anyone who's ever traveled, right, you'll know this. Wherever country you visit, if you don't speak the local language, if a menu doesn't have pictures, you're kind of nervous because you're like, it's kind of daunting because you don't know what you're ordering, right? It matters, right? You're spending money and you want to know what you're getting. And being able to do this, and you can scan on your phone, and there's free Wi-Fi in all the restaurants. You can easily figure out what's going on. And all the workers actually here in Busan are very friendly to multiple languages. I see it. I see it every day. And it's like, it's very, very different. It's hard to explain than what's going on in USA, because as I always tell my wife, it's like every time you see tourists in our neighborhood and at local restaurants, that's a good thing. It means money's coming in, things are going okay, right? And you want to have a economy that makes sense. And it was weird. We were just talking about yesterday, one of Trump's people, the Nick dude, he was like complaining about foreigners at the national park. Oh, there's a stupid foreigners at national park. And I'm just like, are you guys crazy? that's why I show you guys, like, not everyone is a Trumper. Not everyone is out to just close up the world. In fact, Korea is very, very opposite. So yes, there is, I'll also be frank, yes, there's some MAGA type people here in Korea who think, oh yeah, I hate business, I hate foreign people, but that's not the average person. The average person, if you open up a business, you want customers. I think it's a simple way to describe it. And I think that would be for any business out there. If any of you are doing business, no matter which industry that you're in, you open a business, you want customers. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. Please be careful out there. I always appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.